Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Charles Coachman. And this is Bay Area Let's Talk. Bay Area Let's Talk. What this show is and what it's all about is me just taking this news that we have on a daily basis and just sharing it, sharing my thoughts, and hopefully sharing a lot of other people's thoughts with what's going on in the Bay Area and nationally, because like today, a lot of the news that's happened in the last week has been national. Actually, for the last few months, the big stories have been national, but we've also got some local stories that we want to cover and California stories that we want to cover. And we want to keep up with our sports a bit. And then we finish this up with talking a little bit about the history of rock and roll and things that have happened on this date, which is Wednesday, January 13th. Had kind of a rough day as far as the computer and getting on the computer today, as we have been shut down with our cable. Comcast was doing an upgrade in our neighborhood, and so we were shut down. I missed my earlier show. And so we are just getting back up there and being able to go out and share again. So we are glad to be here. Let's check something out. One of the things that I like to do is make sure that I call out and get some shout outs to whoever might be having a birthday. So this is a realtor in the South Bay, and his name is Rick Core. We work out of the same Keller Williams office, Keller Williams, Silicon Valley in Campbell. And Rick is a motorcycle enthusiast. He drives his nice Harley Davidson around, and I'm sure that through this pandemic, he has went out and enjoyed that. Not being locked up like a lot of us, and going out and enjoying his time. So Rick Core, happy birthday to you. And if it's your birthday out there, we must not be friends on Facebook, or you just don't like sharing your birthday. So maybe we need to change that. But happy birthday to everyone out there that it's your birthday today. Enjoy. Enjoy it. One of the other things that I like to do is make sure that people know who we are working with and who we have gotten some of our training from. Up in the top right-hand corner, it says we are powered by StreamYard. That's a platform that we are using to broadcast on. I have worked with the Grow Live Academy, and that is Ken Walls' academy. And we have a group that has gotten together since the pandemic began, and we have enjoyed each other's company, but we've also learned how to do business online, which a lot of us have to do our businesses online for the most part. We are also talking about StreamYard, which I mentioned, and then Hippo Video, which is a company that I am using to personally send out personal videos so that you can get a smiling face out there saying hi, and you can see exactly what's going on. And I just think it's one of the coolest things that we can do. It's not an attachment when this video is sent out. You just go ahead and click on it and the video fires up. So it is very cool. And so Grow Live Academy, StreamYard.com, and Hippo Video. Those are three of the companies that we utilize, and I really enjoy them. And I am very, very happy to be affiliated with all of them. So again, my name is Charles Coachman. This is Bay Area Let's Talk. If you've got any questions, go ahead and post them in. One of the things I would tell you, if you have not dealt with StreamYard before, I'd ask you to go ahead and give them access. Give them permission. And I should probably pop that in there real quick. Go ahead and give them StreamYard.com. Just go to StreamYard.com, www.StreamYard.com, Facebook, and then give them permission to use your likeness. We want to make sure that we're doing that. We'll pop down here again and see if we can get that out of there. Pop up here. So StreamYard.com/Facebook and give them permission. So I think we're good there. And so here is my information. If you'd like to text me at 408-439-0766, or you can email me at bayarealetstalk@gmail.com. I'd be glad to converse with you via email or via text. I am doing 3 shows total during the day. I am doing a Bible class early in the morning at 6 a.m. or 9 a.m. Eastern. I am doing a real estate show at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And then Bay Area Let's Talk, which is all about the Bay Area and what's happening in our country and just sharing. So it is 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock Eastern. And we enjoy doing this. So let's get into our news for the day. News for the day. What's the big story in your mind? Well, in mine, I didn't get to see a lot of this, and only got to see a very short time of it. But President Trump has been impeached once again. Once again, he has been impeached. Now, I'm not sure what your thoughts are on it. I have my own personal thoughts, and I do not believe he should have been impeached, but Democrats have been trying to impeach him for several years, since before he even took office. So here we go again. He is going to be leaving office in 7 days, 6 days. So it's a big deal. I am not sure how many Republicans voted for the impeachment. At one point, I heard there were going to be 5. I know that there were a couple, Dan Newhouse and Jamie Herrera Butler said that they would be voting to impeach. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy said for the first time that Trump does bear responsibility, acknowledging on the House floor before the vote that Biden is the next president, and that radical liberal groups were not responsible for the riots, as conservatives have falsely said. But McCarthy said he opposed the impeachment, instead favoring a fact-finding commission and censure. That would make sense. But I'm wondering if our Republicans and Democrats are understanding that there have been a couple of Antifa that have been identified. We've come to know one reporter that has done a lot of the reporting on Antifa, and I can't remember what his name is. I know his last name is Ngo, and he has pointed out that here were 2 people that were at the front when the young lady got shot and killed there. And they were stirring up some stuff in the front and breaking out some windows. And he has identified them and had identified them in the past as Antifa members. And they were somehow able to slip out by changing their clothes or changing their coverings real quickly, and were able to get out of the Capitol building without being caught. And actually, one of them was being interviewed on TV, just telling how bad the scene was, and that the police had shot the young lady there. So that was a horrible incident. I hope that we can all put it behind us. But with the impeachment, it's sure to stir up some more passions and just not a good way to start out the new president's term with an impeachment going on. But sometimes friends on the left cannot help themselves. It says here that Trump will face a single charge of incitement of insurrection. I guess the biggest Republican to come out and vote against or vote for the impeachment was Liz Cheney. She was voting yes. The president of the United States summoned the mob, assembled the mob, and lit the flame of this attack, said Cheney in a statement. There has never been a greater portrayal by a president of the United States of his office and his oath to the Constitution. I think that you can probably put Liz Cheney down as a never-Trumper. She did not believe in the things that Trump wanted to do, and that is taking soldiers out of the Middle East and trying to get those levels down to zero, which she wanted to do. Anytime we attack somebody, she was okay with that, but taking it down a level she was not good with. The House tried first to push Vice President Mike Pence and the cabinet to intervene, passing a resolution Tuesday night calling on them to invoke the 25th Amendment to the Constitution to remove Trump. Pence made it clear he would not do so, saying in a letter to Pelosi that it was time to unite our country as we prepared to inaugurate President-elect Joe Biden. Now, as most of us will recall, or should recall, President Trump was impeached in 2019 over his dealings and phone call with Ukraine, but was acquitted by the Senate. So, I'm going to go here with one other related story to that. One of those that pushed the Russia collusion story with Trump was the Bay Area's own Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell. Why does his name sound familiar? Well, because recently it was just noted that he had been having his own time with a Chinese spy. But he was just yelling about Trump being tied to Russia. Didn't happen to tell any of us that he had some ties of himself. East Bay Rep Eric Swalwell will serve as an impeachment manager as the House of Representatives moves Wednesday to impeach President Donald Trump for inciting last week's deadly storming of the Capitol complex. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi named Dublin Democrat as one of the 9 impeachment managers. Congressman Ted Lieu of Southern California was also selected. Little statement by Swalwell: America is under an attack incited by President Donald Trump, Swalwell said in a statement. Lives have been lost and future plans are in place to stop a transition of power. A president's greatest responsibility is to protect American lives and defend American ideals. Donald Trump has failed to do both. For the safety of all Americans and the continuity of our experiment in self-governance, Donald Trump must be removed from office. No word that Swalwell should have been removed from his positions on some of the boards that he's a part of, some of the committees that he's a part of, and he is going to be one of those trying the president. And it just came out that he was tied in with a Chinese spy. Don't know. Is there a conflict of interest? I would think there is. I would think that there is. But that's just me. Let's take a look at comments. Hey, Scott. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I saw at least 9 Republicans that voted to impeach. Wow. Well, I'm going to guess that those Republicans are not great supporters of President Trump. That's my only guess. I don't know. But that's my summation, is that anybody that decided that he needed to be held up to impeachment when the FBI had already warned and had given the heads of the Congress, both the Senate and the Congress, they had let them know that we were expecting problems. They gave them the heads up the day before. They had already warned the Capitol Police to make sure that they were ready. From what I understand, the president had already said it was okay to bring in the National Guard. Of course, that had to go through the mayor of the city. And then finally, after everything took place, then they called in the National Guard. So I think there are some problems with that. I'm not sure, but we know that the FBI was well aware, and they were already uncovering people that they knew were out to cause no good. And that's just a shame. That is just a shame. And what I find that to be really strange and a little different is that why wasn't our Congress and Senate fully prepared for this? They knew it was coming. And if they knew it was coming, how is it that President Trump incited this when they found it on the internet previously? I don't know. I think that having the rally there on the day of the day that they were going to announce that, in fact, Biden was going to be the president-elect, or was the president-elect, then it was probably a bad day to have that rally there. It was a difficult day, and I am 100% against anybody that broke in and fought with our Capitol Police. I am a law and order guy. Hey, I have my doubts about the election, but I'm a law and order guy, and I do not believe that President Trump should have had that rally there. I think it was a bad move, and it certainly turned out to be that way. But every person, I believe there's been 180 arrests now. And every person that's been arrested, every person that can be identified, should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. That's as simple as that. As simple as that. Now I wanted to move on to a little bit better news. There are going to be 3 Bay Area celebrations for Martin Luther King Day coming up. And so let's see, I believe that is Monday, January 18th. San Francisco Museum of African Diaspora is hosting a full day online programming. So that's the Martin Luther King National Day of Service. MLK Day Walk of Justice, that is being held in San Jose down on 200 East Santa Clara Street. And the 2021 Piedmont MLK celebration, 11 a.m. to 12:30. And that will be held in Piedmont. Speakers will include Congressman Barbara Lee, Stanford professor and King Institute Claiborne Carson, and filmmaker World Trust founder Shaki Butler. So you can find out more of that online. This came in from Lisa Herendine. Wow, one of the things that we found out that's happening with the pandemic, and this is tough. It's tough enough for a lot of people that aren't making a lot of money. It's tough enough for folks that are getting unemployment checks instead of their regular paychecks. But our food prices have gone sky high. Meat, poultry, and fish and egg prices have risen 17.5% over the last year. Fruits and vegetables rose over 12.2%. Again, dairy products, 7.3% increase. Overall food costs, 4.9%. And the cost of food preparation at home, 5.5%. That's a lot of money when you're not making the same money that you did the year before. And a lot of us in the Bay Area are not, because we've been locked up. Our jobs are considered not essential. And a lot of businesses had laid off an awful lot of people. A couple things that have went down, though, notable. Gasoline prices have went down 9.5%. Medical care costs declined by 1.7%. We do not usually see that. Transportation expenses dropped by 2.1%. There's nobody on the road. Most people don't have to go to work. So surprise, surprise. Now, here's another big story that has come out and just, it kind of blows my mind that this is really a story. Charts show the startling picture of a very abnormal Bay Area flu season. Flu activity lower than normal in California. We usually lose 10 to 20,000 people a year. Not this year. Not since 2020. Somehow, basically, the flu's been eradicated. Who believes that story? Who believes it? COVID and flu have basically the same genes. They are almost the same virus. How can we say that the flu has went down? Most people that say that they have COVID actually have the flu. This is a terrible story. What a horrible, horrible story. Let's see who wrote this. I don't even think I can pronounce her name. I saw it. Annie Weinstein, San Francisco Chronicle staff writer. We're lucky. We've had a very small outbreak of the flu. Extremely small. 0. Hospitalizations for flu. 0. Give me a damn break. Come on now. Who believes that? The flu, which we have every single year, where we have 10 to 30,000 deaths. Not this year. Everybody's got COVID. I think we've got a problem with that. I think this is just terrible, terrible reporting, not questioning the doctors who put out that information, I just, how are we not having the flu? But all these deaths are happening because of COVID and everything's an outbreak. Nobody can have the flu. Give me a break. They were expecting a terrible flu season on top of COVID. But no flu. Thank goodness. Either way, people are dying. That is a terrible story. But when you were saying the pandemic is worse than it really is, that's a bad story. You cannot mislead the people of California. You can't mislead the people of the U.S. This is a horrible, horrible story. And you know, they were talking about a breakout in the NBA. Warriors' Eric Pascal has now cleared the NBA health and safety protocols after a false positive test. False positive test. How many of those have held up people from doing anything? False positive. You got to go in quarantine. Luckily, people in the NBA can afford to go ahead and have another quick turnaround test. So you have one day you're positive, the next day you're not. Come on. But we are glad that Pascal is back. I am not a huge basketball fan. I hopped on bandwagon when the Warriors were doing well, and I understand they're having a good season. My wife is a huge, huge fan, but I am not. But for a young player, and this is a second-year player, for him to be able to come back after getting beat by this virus, getting a false positive, and it knocked him out. Well, we are at that point in the day. I've rambled on enough. Rock and roll history for January 13th, 1962. Everybody was doing the twist. So, for the first time, Chubby Checker, the twist, had been a hit in 1960. But then again, in 1962, on this date, it got back in the top 100. It had been at the top spot in 1960 and made it to the top spot again in 1962. The twist. Come on, everybody. This date in 1968, Johnny Cash visits Folsom Prison to record his live album, Live at Folsom Prison. Album is ranked number 88 on the top 500 of best-selling albums of all time. 1969, Elvis begins a 10-day recording session that will produce his final U.S. #1 record, Suspicious Minds. Suspicious Minds. Written by I don't know because I was thinking of In the Ghetto. In the Ghetto was written by Mac Davis, but Suspicious Minds I'm not sure about. So I put my foot in it. 1973, Pete Townsend of The Who helped Eric Clapton to overcome some personal problems by getting him involved in a show called The Rainbow Concert. Clapton was a very heavy drug abuser, heroin and alcohol abuser. and he was able to kick it. I believe that he had a couple of more bouts with it, but he got to a point where it was finally over with, and he put that demon behind him. 1978, 6 months after Elvis passed away, his version of Paul Anka's My Way went gold. 1979, 34-year-old Donnie Hathaway. He recorded the song Where Is the Love with Roberta Flack. Fell from the 15th floor of a New York City hotel. It was classified as a suicide. 1979, in this date, the Young Men's Christian Association filed a lawsuit against the Village People for their song YMCA. The suit was eventually dropped. This date in 2003, the second time that we're going to hear about Pete Townsend. He was arrested on suspicion of porn charges. Pete was sentenced to 5 years on the sex offender registry. This date in 2010, Teddy Pendergrass died of colon cancer at the age of 59. 2011, the Beatles' back catalog became available on iTunes. Within 2 months, 5 million songs had been sold. And that looks like it's going to cover for today's day. It looks like there was some more news about the Beatles in 2017, and it was about one of their former managers or handlers that had died of a drug overdose at a old age. So that is today's show. If you've got any comments, if you like this show, if you're watching on the replay, if you like it, share it out. Send me a comment. Would love to talk back and forth about it. Love to talk about the news of the Bay Area. I'm not going to bury my head with what all's going on. I want to stay up with what's happening. I love you for checking this out, keeping an eye on us. And if I say something that's out of hand, question me on it. Let's talk. Bay Area, let's talk. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Good day.